Good evening and welcome to The Pulse, your connection to the heartbeat of the medical community, bringing you the latest healthcare information, newest technology, and up-close and personal interviews with the physicians and employees who serve Summit Healthcare Regional Medical Center. I'm your host, Barbara Bruce, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, I'm real excited because we have a new doctor to introduce you to, Dr. Terrence T. Crowder, and we are so happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Barbara.
I was looking at your CV, and I really would appreciate it if you would share with us your education, because I find it very impressive.
Thank you. I worked very, very hard, and my mother helped me a lot to become the man I am today. So I'm just a country boy. I grew up in Arkansas, and that is where I was until 18. And then I went to college at Duke University. That was my dream come true, to go to this prestigious college on the East Coast. And there I learned a lot. It helped me really mature as a person, as an individual. And while at Duke, I decided I wanted to go into medicine and went through my time there. I actually studied chemistry and went on to do biochemistry while I was there. And then I went to medical school back in Arkansas. My mother loved that, being closer to home again. So I was there for 4 years. And after finishing in Arkansas, I actually spent 2 years in Phoenix. There studying my first 2 years as a resident. And then I actually went back to Duke University and completed my training in orthopedic surgery. After completing that in 2008, then I went on to William Beaumont Hospital in Royal Oak, Michigan, and I studied with Dr. Harry Herkowitz, one of the founders of modern day spine surgery. And so to me, a wonderful education, very hard work, but I think I learned a lot from it. And through everything, I think I've become a very good surgeon in what I've learned. And after finishing there in Detroit, I moved right to Phoenix, and I've been in Phoenix since 2009. And
your mother is not happy that you're so far away.
She is not so happy that I'm so far away, but it's only 3 hours southwest, direct from Little Rock into Sky Harbor every single day.
We know how to make that happen, don't we?
I usually have to travel to her. She is mother, and in the end, when mother says, I need you to come home, generally we do what mother says.
Yes, we definitely do, and I understand that. We're very excited to have you because we really haven't had someone that specializes in the spine.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here. I live down in Phoenix, and I'm also a pilot. And so once I've learned to be a pilot, I love climbing up to the Show Low area and to the airport. This was one of the places that was on my to-do list once I learned how to fly. Came here, loved it, had a good time. And then I also have some friends that are here that are physicians as well. And they said, you should really go and just check out the hospital, look around and see how you like Show Low area. And so I took the advice of some friends, came up, drove around, looked around, went by the lake. Of course, it was in the summer and things were perfect here as usual, and said, I think this is something we really can do. And so in my group, the Sonoran Spine Center, talked to my partners and said, why don't we open a clinic up in Show Low? And then at that point, I began to have negotiations with the hospital and different people here in town. And it's going to be a wonderful thing. Everyone's very excited. I'm excited. I can be here in 45 minutes and up on the mountain and avoid the 110-degree weather down in the valley. And so I think it's going to be a wonderful thing.
I think it's going to be great as well. There are so many people that have to travel, and that 3.5-hour drive down the mountain is not fun, and especially if you're having problems.
That is one of the major reasons I've decided to come here. We, of course, see patients that are from the mountain all the time, and that does happen. However, when you have someone whose life is being interrupted by pain, I mean, literally they're in a state where they can't sleep, they can't eat. Everything becomes just trying to manage their pain and have a regular life. And then you do everything you can here on the mountain, and then you tell them, well, I need you to drive 3 hours in a car, sitting up, down to Phoenix. And even when they see me in Phoenix, we have a conversation, we go over everything, we decide what's the best plan of action to get them better. But even once we do that, it's not immediate. At that point, they still have to come back up the mountain, get cleared, get ready for surgery, and then come back down again. And so our goal is to make it so that instead of having to drive 3 hours, you can go to your local Summit Healthcare Hospital, have your surgery, be near your family, be near your friends, be taken care of, and not feel as though you're in this foreign place down in a big city that's very different than up here in the mountain.
Exactly. And it is so much better when you're able to go home at night. There's something about being in your own bed.
There are actual studies that show as we get older and as we get in a point in our life where we like our own bed, we like our family, we're used to our own environment. There are studies that show that people who go home and spend time around family, the more pictures that you put around those people, the better they actually do with surgery. Surgery it's a big deal. Yes, it's a major undertaking. What I try to do is make it so that surgery is simply something that people get through. They get through it very quickly and they get back to their family and back to their life. And if we can make it so that they can have surgery and be home with their families within a day or two and not have to make the long drive, I think it'll make a big difference in recovery and as far as happiness.
When we start to think about the spine, we learned a lot about anatomy when we were in school, but then we forget as much as we've learned. What are the kind of things that you see that are real problems today that are common?
That's a very good question. 80% of Americans at some point will have some sort of back pain or neck pain. That's normal. It's a normal thing to wake up one day and maybe be a little sore, but that soreness in general shouldn't last very long. Maybe a day or two, maybe a week or so, but it should continually get better. If it lingers more than a few days, at that point, if it's debilitating or you're at a point where you can't get out of bed, you need to call your doctor, go in, be seen through your regular doctor. If your regular doctor says this is something minor, they can take care of it. And most people, a vast majority, will never need surgery and they won't need to see me. However, there are those people where your body tells you there's something wrong. You've tried everything. You've been in pain. Your arms are tingling. Your legs are tingling. You feel weak. When you're in a point where your life revolves around pain, it's time to do something about it. There's really no need to live in pain anymore. If you have weakness in your arms and you're dropping things, or your balance is off, or if you ever, God forbid, can't control your bowels or your bladder, you have a problem. See the doctor. Not everything, is a horrible diagnosis. Some things are simple things, but until you get the right care, you don't know it. And there's no reason to live in fear of something that might be bad. Come in, get evaluated, get tested, get your MRI, get your x-rays, get everything you need. And then when you see me, we can talk about how to make you better. Because like I said, a vast majority of people, if we do the right things, you won't even need surgery.
We often hear from people when they find out they have to have surgery, they are beginning to look for alternative ways. They don't want to go under the knife, as they say, but sometimes it's absolutely necessary and it can change your entire life.
I tell people every day, don't think of surgery as something to be afraid of. It's natural. To be afraid of having surgery, something going wrong, that's a natural part of life. It's the unknown part of surgery that people fear the most. But I tell them, if you look at telephones, if you go back 30 years and you look at what we did for telephones and how a telephone was used, and you come to today and you look at cell phones and how really people don't even have house phones anymore, surgery has done the same thing. We don't do long incisions anymore. A lot of our surgeries through very small incisions. People are in the hospital, instead of weeks, they're in the hospital a few days. We've gotten to the point where we can manage pain in such a way that you can have your surgery today, go home in a few hours, and be back to regular life in a few weeks. And so my job as a surgeon is to be as up to date as possible to make sure, even though you live in this very quiet, beautiful community, you have of course, the best technology available to get better. And so I tell everyone it's okay to be afraid, but the same way that you don't use a rotary phone anymore, we don't use those things in surgery anymore, and we've advanced just the way everything else is advanced.
Dr. Crowder, that's a great analogy because a lot of people out there have been told they needed surgery and then they didn't go back. They thought, well, I can live with this. But when you're taking medication on a regular basis, it has an effect on your body.
Medication changes you. We've grown to the point that we know you can be in pain, and it's okay to be in pain if the pain is well managed and it's controlled and you're not having to take medications and narcotics, and you don't have to take these high doses of things to live a normal life. However, it is a known fact that if you're in pain, after a certain amount of time, your brain actually changes and your brain actually understands pain a different way, and you get to a point of what we call chronic pain. in that person who has chronic pain, now, even with a perfect surgery, once you have chronic pain, you will get better, but it will take a little bit longer in order for you to get back to normal, because you honestly will have to reprogram your mind. And so I tell everyone, you pay all this money for healthcare, and you're going to pay the money one way or the other now. Get checked out, be seen, know what's going on in your body, understand your body, understand that I have a problem that doesn't need surgery. I can be okay. There's no reason to suffer. There's no reason not to sleep at night. We live in a world and an age where convenience is what everyone wants. The key is you have to be at a point where you say, you know what? It's worth it. I'll go in, I'll be seen, I'll be evaluated. I don't have to go 4 hours. That excuse will no longer be there. You'll be able to go 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to the hospital, be evaluated and find out what's really happening.
What I find with people is that it's not until they're sick and tired of being sick and tired that they do anything about it.
That's very true. And there's a good number of people that is simply what's going to happen. They're so busy in life that they really can't get to a point where they take care of themselves. And that's okay. I understand that. And sometimes that happens. We always wonder sometimes, well, we tell ourselves this is going to go away. It's going to go away. Well, after a few days, it doesn't go away. Oh, that's okay. Maybe a couple of weeks. Well, now it's been a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2. Those kind of things that are going on for months and years aren't going to go away. If it's something you want to live with, don't just consider yourself, consider your family and your friends. And if your family says, you're not the same person, you're different when you're hurting, you're angry when you're hurting, you're not the person I love when you're hurting, come see us, get evaluated, get better, and try to get over the problem. We just have to get to a point where the fear of seeing the doctor, and people are still afraid, that fear has to kind of be put down. And we have to get to a point where we say, okay, I'm going to get an MRI. MRIs don't hurt one bit. An X-ray doesn't hurt one bit. It doesn't hurt to find out what's going on so you can move on with your life.
And there are open MRIs today.
That is correct. Even if you're a little afraid of closed spaces, and I'm not a fan of them either, you can have an open MRI. Now, that open MRI is not of the same quality as a closed MRI. That is true. And if you fit and your body type works, getting an open MRI is a great idea. However, if you're a tall man and you do lots of things and you're very strong, then that open MRI may not give us the best pictures. What I tell people is think of televisions. And if you think of a television, an open MRI is a regular image. If you think of a closed MRI, it's like a high definition picture. And so if it's going to be something involving your body and your health, and it's been going on a long time, you may have to end up getting that closed MRI. And that's okay. It's okay to be afraid. There are ways we can help you to lay there and be comfortable and not hurt so bad. Some people, quite frankly, are claustrophobic, and there's no way they're going to be able to have a closed MRI without medication. Well, you know what? That's okay. Come over to Summit. There's ways we can actually give you sedation. You can be calm. You'll never know you had the MRI. You'll get great pictures and hopefully never have to do that again.
Thank you for explaining that. I was reminded of a movie that recently came out, and it was After Earth with Will Smith. And he says, danger is real. Fear is optional. Fear is a choice.
That is true. In surgery and in medicine, we always fear the unknown. And one of the reasons men do not go to the doctor is, as men, we're not taught to go to the doctor. And you're not taught that, every year you should go see your doctor and be checked out. Whereas women are taught, once a year you need to be checked out. It's something from a very young age we instill in our daughters. However, in our young boys, we say, you're young, you're healthy, you're a good strapping boy. You don't necessarily need to go in to be checked out. However, that's not the case. We've learned that the best way to beat things is to get to them early. And so I tell everyone, I encourage them, go once a year, talk to your regular doctor, get your labs drawn, make sure you're doing okay. It doesn't hurt that much. It takes all of maybe half an hour, and you can live the rest of the year knowing, hey, I'm in really good health. I have nothing to worry about. I can live my life. I can live the life for my family. I'm going to be there for my family. And I'm not going to wake up one day and be very sick and be in a position where now, not only have you hurt yourself, but you've also put your family in a very difficult situation if you can't go to work anymore. And so sometimes as men, we have to man up and go and do what we need to do to be taken care of.
I hope the men were listening, because I know that women usually encourage their men to go to the doctor. And I think that it's really good that we can get that message out there. The man is primarily the breadwinner, though today many things have changed. But regardless, we all need preventive health care. One of the things that interested me when you were talking about your education was that while you were at Duke, you decided to go into medicine. Was there a particular thing that triggered that while you were at Duke?
Yes, there actually was. Getting to go to Duke in general was my dream come true. You know, from a very young age, it was something I wanted to do. And when I got there, I was living my dream. The second I stepped on campus, this was what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be there. And I'm at this very prestigious school, and I felt very honored to get to be just a student at Duke University. And so I got there, and I'm from a single parent home. My mother has worked every day of my life since I was 6 months old. And so she instilled in me, you have to do what you need to do in order to grow up to be a man, to take care of yourself and take responsibility for your education. And so I got to Duke, and one of the first jobs I got was as a student trainer. I actually worked at the athletic department. And so I would go every day, and we'd go to football practice, and we'd go to wrestling practice and soccer practice, and we were taking care of these athletes. And I realized, I like doing this. I like being around, these very healthy people who want to be better. We're out here trying to win basketball games, and we're, representing our university, but they're so motivated to be better. It was one thing that I really, really enjoyed. And while I was there, a lot of the orthopedic surgeons would come over, and they take care of the athletes, minor sprains, bruises, simple things. And some of those doctors became my mentors. They were such wonderful people. I really gravitated toward them. And ultimately I said, I think this is what I want to do. I knew I wanted to be a doctor of some sort, but I initially thought maybe a PhD, something like that. But that human contact, interacting with people every day, people who wanted to be better, there's nothing more I wanted to do after that.
I had a feeling that you were going to answer the question that way, because any of us that know anything about Duke whatsoever know that North Carolina is basketball country. And you see all of these tall players, they get hurt, they stretch. The spine is one of those things that we start to look at.
It was a really big deal at Duke, since we have Duke University Medical Center, this top 10, university hospital. All the time, you would have not just the orthopedic surgeon, but you'd have the spine surgeon. You'd also have the nutritionist. I mean, there's a team of doctors to take care of these athletes. And what I've learned in life is that we have to ultimately have a team of doctors to take care of us. I'm an orthopedic spine surgeon. I do spine surgery every day. This is what my expert field is. I know everything I possibly can about spine surgery. And so therefore, I need other people. I need the regular orthopedic surgeons to take care of knees and hips. I need the nutritionists to help people with their weight. I need their primary doctors to help me with their diabetes. So it is definitely a team effort anytime it comes down to orthopedic surgery or spine surgery or patients in general. And so one very big thing I always preach in my clinics is that I will help you and I'll take care of your spine. I will make sure you have as healthy a spine as possible, but it is up to you, the patient, to make sure your blood pressure is okay, your diabetes is okay, that all the other problems are in line, because ultimately I can only fix one big thing that's there ailing you. But once you're better, I still want you to live a healthy life, and you will need these other doctors and people to help you.
I am really glad that you talked about all the other things surrounding the spine, because often we forget that the way we eat, whether or not we exercise, all of those things that are so important really fall into a category of prevention. And when you do the surgery, if people don't do the other work around, it doesn't matter what you've done to help them. They won't always live optimally well.
That is very true. My goal with every single surgery is to get people back to living a happy life. And I tell people, once this surgery is done and you feel better, my goal is for you to go back to doing anything you want to do. No one wants to be stuck in the house and can't do anything. No one wants to be in a situation where they can't do the things they love to do. I have patients every day that ask me, well, if I have this surgery, doctor, are you going to let me golf again? And I say, you know what? 2 days after surgery, you can putt if you want, okay? You go, you start your putting, you get yourself together, and ultimately 6 weeks to 3 months after your surgery, and that's if you have a big surgery, you can play all the golf you want. If you like swimming, a couple of weeks after surgery, yes, you can go back to swimming. I want people to live a happy life, because if they're happy, that means they've enjoyed themselves. They've gotten to a point where they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to say, look, if you have a problem, see Dr. Crowder. He's going to help you get back to your normal life and be a normal person again.
Dr. Crowder, you are so motivational that I believe what you say.
I try my best.
I think that people need to be able to understand exactly what takes place. And I can see you probably take a lot of time with your patients to explain exactly what is going to happen and what they can expect.
We live in an age where knowledge is everything. The internet, computers, you can find information all over and everywhere you go. And so my job as a professional is to make sure you have the right information. On the internet, we know there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of bad. And so unfortunately, people will sometimes think they know what's wrong and go on the internet and start looking at pictures and things on YouTube. And the problem with that is if you're not certain what is wrong, you can definitely find a lot of wrong information. Nobody says what's on the internet is correct. And that's just the truth of the matter. If you have an internet connection and you have $20, you can put anything on the internet. That's the way it is. And so I try to spend time with people so that they understand what's going on. I want them to understand what problem they have. I want them to understand the plan of treatment we have. I want them to understand realistic goals. In this life, nothing is 100% other than God Almighty. Therefore, even with a perfect surgery, our goal is to get you back to 90% of what you used to be. If you get more than that, wonderful. That is great. But nothing is 100%. And I tell people that you have to be realistic, not only about the problem you have, but about the surgery you need. And so my goal and what I try to do is get people to understand and be realistic about their goals. And maybe you can't run 20 miles anymore, but maybe you can walk 20 miles. And that's what I try to get people to understand is that if you do have a problem, if there's a problem, there's an issue, if it does need surgery, let's do the best we can to make it better. Once it's better, then we let you try to accomplish all those things you want to do.
For all of us that care about our spine, that we're really paying attention, is there any kind of exercise that we should not be doing today?
That is one of the things I've been preaching for a very long time. I basically have a few things that I tell every patient. I tell them, one, stop smoking, because smoking literally starves your body. And it not only starves your body, but it starves your disc in your back, and you need those discs, and they don't get a lot of blood flow. So if you're smoking, you are literally destroying your own spine, your neck and your back. And so if you smoke for 20 years and you come into my office and your neck hurts or your back hurts, unfortunately, some of that damage we just can't repair. We can take care of things once they've gotten to a certain point, but some things we can't stop. And so therefore, I tell people, do the very best you can to stop smoking right now. Number two, if you have diabetes or any vascular problems, take care of those. You want good, healthy blood flow throughout your body. And one of the big things you can do about that is go out, exercise every day. Simple things. When you're in your bathroom and you're brushing your teeth, brush your teeth for 2 minutes and walk in place, high step. Do something where you get your heart rate up a little bit. It's very simple things. If you work at an office, walk back and forth, walk it quickly. Instead of walking your normal pace, walk quickly back and forth, walk to lunch. After lunch, walk 5-10 minutes. Do the little things throughout your day that are very simple to do. They don't take any more time, honestly, than anything else you do. If you do those little things now, it will basically save you a lot of problems in the future. If you want to go to the gym, I encourage everyone, go to the gym, go outside, exercise, hike. There are a few things I would never do in the gym. One of those is a deadlift. And for anyone in the gym, you know what deadlifts are. They're really bad for your back. There really honestly is no way to do that properly. I don't care what you read on the internet. I don't care what Dr. Oz tells you. Never do a deadlift again. Never do another squat with weight on your back. Those things are very dangerous. And ultimately, you can hurt your back. And if you look at any professional athlete, how they really train, they don't do those things anymore. But anything else you want to do, walk on a treadmill, bike, swim, all the wonderful things you can do here up on the mountain all year round, except maybe in the winter, do those things. They will make a huge difference in your life.
I'm glad to hear that, because we all look at exercise as very important. And one of the books that I've been reading is called Younger Next Year. It was written by an athlete and also a doctor of internal medicine. He says there's 3 things you really need in life to live optimally well into your 80s and beyond. Number 1 is passion for something. Number 2 is exercise. And he said exercise is even more important than how you eat. And of course, the 3rd is a relationship with someone, because we all have to have people to share with. So I think that exercise, according to what I've seen, it will get you through the bad times in your life if you have done it from an early age.
That is very true. The healthier you are before you get sick, the healthier you will be after. Because the stronger your body is going into an illness, the stronger it's going to be coming out. If you're already weakened by not being in good health and not exercising, if you're already weakened, by the time you get sick, you're going to get really weak. And that is the difference between a lot of patients that have surgery and are able to go home the next day versus those patients who have surgery and they can't go home for a few days, and then maybe they need to go to a nursing home because they've lost so much strength, so much stamina. Even though their body is healing, they just are not at a point where they can tolerate it by themselves.
And attitude has everything to do with healing.
Attitude is everything. It is more of your attitude than your aptitude that matters a lot of the time.
I can now reflect back to the beginning of our interview today when we were talking a bit about your mother, learning that she was the single parent that motivated you. I can now see why you decided to do such a good job and that you decided to pass on that positive attitude to others. I think it's exciting to have you up here, and I think you would be a great motivational speaker almost anywhere.
Thank you very much.
Is it true that a person has to be referred to you, or can they just call you for an appointment?
You can just call the office. Just call our office. Once you call our office, we'll get your insurance information. At that point, if your insurance requires that you have a referral, then we'll help you take care of that. But most insurances these days don't require that. They've gone to more of a streamlined system. So if you call us and say, here's my problem, I would like to see Dr. Crowder, that's okay with me. You don't have to have an x-ray. You don't have to have an MRI. You bring yourself, you come with your story and what's wrong, and we'll figure out what's going on. At our office, we're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have an internet website. We can be reached at 480-962-0071. Any time of day, any time of year. Our office hours are actually 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. every single day except Friday when we close at noon. We do like to enjoy our Friday afternoons too. So that is always there to make the phone call or to go to our website, which is www.sonoranspinecenter.com. Anyone who's in pain who would like to contact us, it's very easy. You can call us any time of day. The number is 480-962-0071. Our receptionist is there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day except Friday, where they leave at noon, and that's okay. We do enjoy our Friday afternoons as well. Or you can reach us on the internet and send us an email, and we'll give you a call. That address is www.sonoranspine.com. SONORANSPINE.com.
Dr. Crowder, this has been one of the most motivational interviews that I have ever had, and I hope that I never have to see you in your office, but if I have the need, I won't hesitate to call you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And welcome to the White Mountains. You have been listening to The Pulse, your connection to the heartbeat of the medical community, bringing you the latest healthcare information, newest technology, and up-close and personal interviews with the physicians and employees who serve Summit Healthcare Regional Medical Center. If you would like to share the information that you heard today with someone else and you are listening on Monday, it is replayed the following Sunday on NewsTalk 970 KVWM and 1270 KDJI. Thank you for joining us on The Pulse.